What's good, YouTube? If you hear a lot of sounds, I have my Facebook comp. I'm trying to get my main Facebook account. I have my backup account, which I don't really. Let's see, yeah, man. I don't really use. I'm using my backup Facebook account, which I don't really use. But since I got my main Facebook account disabled, I have to use this one until I could get my main account back up again. So I was on a Facebook page, and yes, I still have Facebook. I was on a Facebook group called NFC East Trash Talk, and there's a few Giants fans on there that said I was a bandwagon or I didn't know what I was talking about, and then they came to their message, no, not message, but they came to reality and said, damn, you was right. I was right, because I told y'all and I told them around August 3rd, I believe this was our first preseason game. I said that the Giants will digress this year. I tell everybody in the chat that, I told everybody in the group that, you know, and a lot of people saying, most Giants fans would say, "Oh, you're a fake fan. You don't know what you're talking about. You this, you that." And I was right. Look at us now. We 1-3. We're about to be 1-4 because I don't see how we're going to stop Miami's offense. They got to, but this is not about Miami. But I don't want to come on here and say, "Yeah, I was right." I'm always right. Because I know what I'm talking about. The Giants right now are 1-3. They're fourth in the division, or probably third. Yeah, they probably fourth still. Even though Washington lost, they're still in third place. And then we have two tough teams. We have the Bills, and then no, we have the Dolphins, and then we have the Bills. So we have back-to-back AFC East teams this year. And the last time, I believe the last time we faced the AFC East, we won the Super Bowl around 2011 and 2008, if you recall. Us going over in London. First time we've been over in London in that '08 season, we faced the Dolphins. We won that game. I believe it was like 13-10 or something like that. I believe. I might be wrong. Eli Manning had one rushing touchdown on Jason Taylor. I remember that. So, yeah, I don't want to brag. I don't want to say I was right because I was right, and I have proof. I have proof. I have proof for the people who say I was right or for the people who say I was wrong. I have proof. I have screenshots 13 hours ago. I have proof. So that's me on the bottom, and that's the guy on the top. His name is OBJ Brooklyn. And he told me not told me to my face, but he told me that, yeah, I was wrong. I mean, I was right. He didn't want to believe me. He thought I was, even though I showed him my hat, even though I showed him my wristbands, he said, okay, yeah, I believe you. You're a Giants fan, but you don't act like that. I really don't act like a Giants fan. I really don't. And that's the difference between YouTubers as well, I mean, I'm not this raw guy, I don't pander to the Giants because I know what I'm going to get from the Giants. The Giants will never be this offensive juggernaut. Never. That's not in their DNA. They run the two things that Giants do very well is run the ball and play defense. And that's been their recipe for years. We never had a great offensive player, right? If you want to say OBJ, fine, but he didn't really do anything over here while he was here. We had Plaxico, we had Toomer, we had Steve Smith, not number 89 Steve Smith, we had number 12 Steve Smith. We still scored 21 points per game that year. And then when we had Mario Manningham and Akeem Nicks and Victor Cruz, we were still struggling to score points. So where was our points coming from? The offense, obviously, but since we had good defenses over the years, it neutralized our mistakes. It neutralized some of our mistakes. We wasn't really making that much mistakes because the defense was setting us in perfect field position. And when you have great field position, you can score quickly as possible. You know, and there was times where there was times where we was in shootouts. I'm not saying that it was completely on the defense. Sometimes it was on the offense too. When the Giants want to wake up and play complimentary football, they could be a dangerous team. You know, like if we go out there and somehow beat the Dolphins, which I don't think that would be an upset. I know a lot of Giants fans on YouTube say that, oh, it would have been an upset beating the Dolphins. The Dolphins has been sucked for years. They've been trash for years. Now all of a sudden, now all of a sudden, the Dolphins are great again. You know? But, you know, the statistic shows, you know, we play very well against the Dolphins. I don't know what it is, but we always have the Dolphins number. We're 7-3 and 4-1 against them. We're 7-3 overall record, and we 4-1 against them on the road. So when we do go on the road, we're great. It's a 1:00 game. Daniel Jones don't typically do bad at 1:00 games. It's usually 4 or 8:00 games that he self-destructs. Look at the pattern. Look at the pattern. Week 1, we got blown out against the Cowboys. Week 2, we bounced back against the Arizona Cardinals, which was a 4:00 game. But obviously, everybody and their grandmama knows that the Arizona Cardinals are quietly tanking. Okay? Yeah, they'll play hard, you know, but if they want Caleb Williams, they're going to have to tank even harder. Okay? Or maybe the Vikings. I don't know. It might be between those two. Because obviously the Vikings want to move off of Kirk Cousins, you know. I think Caleb Williams would be a better fit in Minnesota rather than Arizona. So the statistics are there. We came back against the Cardinals. Again, the Arizona Cardinals was tanking, so that means that they could not win that game. And then after that, we bounced back. Not even bounced back. We digressed against a very good 49ers team. And then we thought, okay, short week, boom. We had 11 days to rest. We came out real good in the first quarter, moving the ball, running the ball, whatever, without Saquon. And then after that, it just piled up. It just piled up again. So we're 74-3 at home, which is mind-boggling. But I digress, okay? Now that I got that out of the way, how do we fix this Giants team moving forward? Forget this season. Listen. This season is done. This season is dead for. Okay? This season is done. We're not making the playoffs. This season is done. I can see it. It's done. I don't care if Saquon Barkley comes back, which I believe he's going to come back week 7 against the Commanders. So even if he does come back, how effective he will be, you know, will they proceed with caution with him, knowing that he's coming back or he's coming off that injury? Our running game is trash. We really don't know who's our number 1 receiver. I don't even think we care to have a number 1 receiver. Even if we did have a number 1 receiver, our offensive line cannot block long enough for for one, for the play to develop, and for two, for Daniel Jones to see the field. Now, obviously, in that game against the Seahawks, there were drives. I went back and looked at the film. There were drives in that game where Daniel Jones held onto the ball quite some time. In the first drive, he was just, doing a lot of RPOs. I don't know why the Giants don't do a lot of RPOs with him, knowing that he's very good athletically. He can run. He's not Eli or Philip Sims or Phil Sims. He has some mobility. I don't know why they don't do the RPOs. A little trickery. Do something, But yeah, like I said, the statistics are there, There's no reason why we shouldn't lose to the Dolphins. Luckily, it is not at home. I'll say that. That's the bright line of this whole entire scenario. It is not at home because we do not play well at home whatsoever. So if you're a betting person, every time the Giants are at home, bet against them. If they're on the road, it's a little iffy because, the Giants do play well at home. The Giants do particularly play well on the road. Outside of that 49ers game, they did come back against the Cardinals, which I'll give them credit for that. But other than that, those last two home games, they dropped the F-bomb, So we don't know what we're going to get every time they play home. Like, every single time they play home, they get blown out. We're going to score 3 points at home. It's crazy. So, how to fix it? Like I said, just take a playbook out of the Dolphins. Out of the Cowboys, Just keep on drafting offensive linemen each year. Don't go for the high hopes. Don't go for the talented running back. Don't go for the talented receiver. Just keep on retooling the offense every single year. Because a lot of people don't peep this out. There was years from 2014 all the way to now where there was projecting the Giants to take an offensive tackle. Like every single year, I go on WalterFootball.com, which is obviously my real name, Walter. Every time I go to WalterFootball.com, they're projected to pick an offensive lineman. They're projected to pick the offensive lineman. Even though they don't pan out, you still pick them. Why? Because look at the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys, when they had that Great Wall of China offense line, everybody was crapping on them. But when DeMarco Murray was running through that offensive line, he was trying to break Eric Dickerson's record. Y'all remember that? We crapped on them. Like, oh, why is the Cowboys taking the offensive line? Oh, he's passing up on this player. They were smart. And then they knew what they was doing. And look at them now. Still have a great offensive line. Where were we? Picking what we don't need. Odell Beckham Jr. Did we really need Odell? No. Did we really need David Wilson? No. Prince Amukamara? No. They were great players, don't get me wrong. Ruben Randall? No. Did we really need those guys? No. We needed to retool the offensive line, and that's why we failed. That's why we effing failed. And this is the result you get when you don't resource your tools. When you don't do your homework, this is what you get. So bringing in Justin Pugh is not going to help this offensive line. This offensive line has to be retooled and revamped. Okay? One side doesn't affect the whole entire side or the whole entire offensive line. Okay? Yeah, I get it. Bench Evan Neal for Justin Pugh. Listen, Justin Pugh just got here. The year that he left the Giants, they had different offensive linemen. Now that he signed with the Giants, which I'm not a shocker because, Hakeem Nicks did it, Brandon Jacobs did it, Justin Tuck, obviously, when he spent 1 year with the Raiders, he came back. So People return to their old team, you know, if they feel like that team is worth playing for. You know, it's like quitting your job. It's like the job that you quit, you can't go back and work for that corporation no more. You have to go to another job. But with the NFL, Deshaun Jackson, like look how many years he spent with the Eagles. He bounced around, bounced around, bounced around, bounced around, came back with the Eagles, and then finished his career, I believe, with the Ravens, I believe. So there's been numerous of Giants players that have come back to play with the Giants. Okay. Brandon Jacobs did it. Spent 1 year with the 49ers, came back and played with the Giants. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is. But, Justin Pugh is not going to fix everything, because he's just only one guy. He still have to get the playbook down, right? Like Brian Dable is coaching a whole new, like he still has to learn the, ins and outs. So don't get mad if he doesn't start. If you don't see him in the lineup, you still see Evan Neal. They're not going to bench Evan Neal for Justin Pugh because he just got there. Give him a few, reps or whatever. Whenever they're not playing, just give him a few reps because he's gonna have to learn the whole new playbook all over again. Because the playbook that he had when he was a rookie here, and when he left to go to Arizona and he came back, is a different, scheme. You know what I'm saying? Because the coach that he had was who? Joe Judge, right? That was the last coach that he had that was here. Was running a completely different offense. Now that he's here, he's have to work with Brian Dable, and Brian Dable does things differently. So if you don't see him in the lineup, just give him a few times, or just give him a few reps or whatever. He'll get it, And if Evan Neal continues to play bad and struggle, they're gonna take him out. They're gonna obviously make a change. You know what I'm saying? And then you're gonna magically see the Giants, you're going to magically see the Giants' offensive line play upright. Oh, that's all we needed to do was just subtract Evan Neal and put in Justin Pugh. And Justin Pugh didn't really play bad as a rookie. He really didn't. It was just injuries that set him back. That's all. He couldn't really stay on the field. So, it is what it is. But I think it's just a little bit too late, because we're not beating the Dolphins as good as they're playing right now, and we're damn sure ain't beating the Bills. So we're just going to have to retool next year and hopefully take it serious next year, I'm not going to sit here and say I was right or wrong, because I know I was right. I'm always right when it comes to the Giants. This is no shock, I don't want to be this Grinch guy, that hates. I used to like the Giants, when they were great, when they were good, but I understand, hard times, every team's going to go through hard times, not every team is going to be, sunshine and rainbows, you know what I'm saying? Look at the Patriots. They're suffering from it right now. All those championships, yeah, the teams were celebrating. Fans was, yahoo, woo, drinking till the cows come home. Now it's like, oh, this team sucks. Oh, I feel like switching. Oh, this team is garbage. Oh, this, that, We have some lifetime Patriots fans. Like some lifers, But it's a different generation, obviously. But, you just have to take it. Every single time, I don't really subject myself to the Giants because I know what they're going to do, and I know what I know what they're capable of. They play when they want to play. That's the Giants. They play when they want to play. If they see a team that they can match up well against, they'll play to the best of their abilities. If they see a team that they can't match up well against, then they'll just fold like a cheap tent. That's just them. Or if their backs against the wall and nobody's picking them to beat that team, then they'll show up. They'll show up. But now they're just taking a step back. And I knew they was going to take a step back this year because last year they had a very easy schedule. If you look at the teams that they faced last year, each and every one of them finished dead last in their division. Dead last in their division. Because there's only 4 teams in each division, right? So beating the Cardinals, beating the Panthers, not the Cardinals, beating the Panthers, beating the Titans. They all finished. Well, actually, the Titans was coming off their best season that year, and then they digressed that year. You know, the Panthers, they digressed that year. Not really digressed, but they was always bad. So they faced a lot of bad teams last year that had losing records. Now, you look at this season, they are facing a lot of good teams that have winning records. So strength by schedule matters. And for people who say it doesn't matter, shame on you. That's all I have to say. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy beating the Dolphins offensively. Defensively, they're a little bit shaky, but I don't think the Giants are going to take advantage of that because, again, the offensive line is just going to be not good. Now, if the offensive line can wake up and at least put 4 good quarters together and hold hold Daniel Jones upright for the first 4 quarters or throughout the whole entire game, then it could be a shootout. I could see this game really be a shootout. But if I see what I saw these last few games, the offensive line getting beat. You know, the Dolphins' defense is not even good like that. Hell, Seahawks' defense was not even good like that, and they got 10 or 11 sacks on Daniel Jones. So imagine what the Dolphins' defense is going to do. As bad as they are in the secondary, we can nitpick on them. But again, we were supposed to do that against the 49ers, and we didn't do that. You saw the LA Rams put 27 points on them. 27, and we couldn't even put 20. Like, because they got a better offensive talent. They got a better offensive scheme than us. It's either they have a better offensive scheme, or we have a crappy offensive coordinator. Like if Brian Daboll has to take over the play calling, please do. I know he won't, because he's not going to waste his time and energy calling his plays. Because if you saw that Arizona Cardinals game, it looked dead. It looked like the Cardinals was going to blow us out the water. And all of a sudden, the script flipped, or whatever flipped. The play calling flipped. It went from check down to Daniel Jones bombing it 20, 40 yards down the field. Like, where was this week 1? So play calling is going to be a little bit iffy this year. Because I know Matt Kafka is not going to be here next year. I know that for sure. He's not going to be here next year. And if they do resign him, or I don't know how long he's going to be here. Because he just got here, so I'm thinking he's going to be here for another year or so. And then after that, they're going to just, I don't know. But we can never seem to have a great offensive coordinator. Never. And it's sad. You know, you look at the NFL, and you look at all these teams that have great offensive coordinators, but we have an offensive coordinator, but he's just a head coach. He's just a head coach. He's not calling the plays. But you know what? I have another prediction. No, scratch prediction. 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 I have another prophecy. The Giants will beat the Bills. Because you know why? Guess who's coming back home? Brian Dable. Right? Guess who's playing? Guess who's coming back home? And guess who's playing against his former team? Brian Dable. You don't think Brian Dable is gonna show the Bills, oh, y'all let me go? Y'all let me go? Okay, watch this. Watch this. I'm gonna take over the play calling just for this one game. And I'm gonna teach y'all why y'all should have let me go. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. That's just how I feel. You know, these revenge games, head coaches, players, you know, when they face their former team, they want to show out. They want to ball out, you know. So Brian Dable is gonna say, Mike Kefka, I got this. I got this. Just chill. Let me just play. Let me just call the plays for this one game. Just for this one game, and you could take back the next game. I just want to show the Bills organization what they effing missed when they let me go. I'm just saying. Just saying. Don't be surprised if Daniel Jones outplays Josh Allen. Don't be surprised. That's the one game I say that the Giants are going to show up. That's the only game. Not only game. I think that game and then the Oakland Raiders game. I think Darren Waller's going to have a breakout year, or not breakout year, breakout game, because obviously I still think he's still bitter of what the Oakland Raiders did to him by releasing him. He's still got enough left. He's still got a lot left in the tank. But I'd say those are the only two games I think I know the Giants are going to perform. They're going to perform against the Bills because of Brian Dable. The Bills letting go of Brian Dable, or maybe his contract was up and they didn't want to negotiate with him, and the Darren Waller incident where they let him go, even though he's still got a lot left in the tank. They let him go. They traded him. So I say those two games are probably going to be one of the Giants' best performances we've seen this year so far. And if I'm right on those two games, sub me up. Sub me up. Sub me up if I'm right in those two games. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not guessing. This is just my prophecy. I'm not guessing. This is what I believe is going to happen. We're going to lose against the Dolphins in a close game. It's not going to be a blowout. We're going to lose against the Dolphins in a close game. Next Sunday, we're going to play our best football. We're going to play our best football on both sides of the field. And then when we face the Oakland Raiders, Darren Waller is going to have his breakout game. He's going to probably have like 115 yards, 3 touchdowns, 15 targets, 10 targets, whatever. Just throwing it out there. That's just my prophecy. Like, comment, subscribe. Till next time, take care of yourself and each other.